And I am live, but I'm not sure if my volume is working. Somebody let me know if they can hear me. Let's see. Bear with me, guys. I got a guest. He's in the room. I'm going to see if this is working on my channel. I don't know if I can. I'm getting any volume. Let's see. Don't know if anybody's in the room yet. I'm going to check on my phone, see if this is working. Let's see. Check, check, hello. Check, check, hello. Alright, I can hear it on my phone. There we go. Coming in. Alright. So, tonight, guys, here's my guest. His name is James Saberi, and he runs Action Housing Sober Living. He's the director, the founder, the manager. He's saved hundreds of lives, whether he wants to admit it or not. And hey, we have Jaleel Phillips. Did Vlad already get sentenced? He did get sentenced. He's got about 24 days left, I think. And he's going to, well, his mother is going to Danbury, Connecticut. He's not sure where he's going yet. He didn't get his papers yet. And I believe he wanted to go to Otisville, which is where all the Jewish lawyers go. It's the real Club Fed, and it only has like 67 inmates, and it's really hard to get into. But he's waiting. He is going to a camp. And how long did he end up getting? He got 18 months. His mother got 48 months. He was looking at 3 years. So, yeah, worked with him, and he came around the last month, and yeah, she says, you got a friend in Otisville. That's a hard one to get into. How much bribery money did he pay? Because that's the real Club Fed. I think they got a one-hole golf course there, a swimming pool. I don't know. It's the last one left with the swimming pool.
Are you serious?
James, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Speak.
You can't hear me.
Yeah, I don't hear you at all. God damn it. Let me see if your mute's on. I don't hear you at all, James. Man, my speaker's not working or something. You can hear me though, huh? He had a fabulous lawyer and that a rapper had. Okay. Yeah, James, I don't hear you. Can you check with your mic?
Yeah.
Something's going on with my audio. Let me, having technical difficulties here, guys. I can hear myself on my phone on my YouTube channel. Here comes James.
So I just checked my mic.
James? I don't hear you at all. Man, I don't think it's you. I think it's me. James, can you say something? I want to see if I hear this on the YouTube channel. For some reason, I'm not hearing you.
Yes, I could say something. I checked my mic and it works. Oh, there's a big delay.
This is not good. Yep. I checked my mic and it works. I saw James in your private chat. James, I got a problem here with my audio. For some reason, I can't get the speakers to work. Although they work on every other. I checked my YouTube. I can hear things. Give me 1 second here. This is not good. We might have to redo this, James, because I can't hear anything. No, it's not working. James, I don't know what to tell you, man. I've been checking this for 20 minutes now, and my speakers are not working. You can hear me. I may have to turn my computer off and turn it back on again. Let me try that. We'll start the show over, and if that don't work, we'll set it up for tomorrow. But I'm gonna restart my computer. Oh, hello, James.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe I can just have you on this phone here. Hello.
That's working.
Okay. Some reason my speaker doesn't work. Hello.
Yeah.
There's no way to do a show in real live.
I keistered it.
She says I can hear both of you. Okay, so you know what I'm gonna do?
Real.
I'm gonna put my earphones in my phone. Here, I got a way to fix this, guys.
Okay. And there's a big delay on YouTube.
All right. I can hear you through the phone. They can hear me on the. It's delayed, but I don't know what's going on with my computer. I got to reset it or something.
Congo is all about solutions. Solutions. People have problems. Sean's got solutions.
So I don't know if we lost people. We still got a few people in the room. Thanks, Jaleel, for letting me know. I'm going to... This show's all about how to get into RDAP and get a year off your sentence, guys. And that's what I titled it. So there are several ways to get time off your sentence by the First Step Back, earned time credits. You can get 15 days off of every 30 days of programming you do, up to a year off. You're going to get 15% of your sentence off in good time. That's 54 days for every year. There are some programs like the dog training program. You got to have a 5-year sentence or more, and if you do 5 years, they give you a year off, but it's a year in halfway house or home confinement. Another way to get a year off is the RDAP. That's the Residential Drug Abuse Program. But to get in that program, you also get 6 months halfway house, so you're going to get 18 months off. That's if you have a 3-year sentence or more. If you have a 2-year sentence, you get 6 months off. If you have a 30-month to 36-month sentence, you get 9 months off. Or anything over 36 months, you get a year off. And 6 months halfway house, because you have to do aftercare. But that's 18 months you don't...
2 years, punch a cop.
Yeah, so that's it's 18 months you don't have to do in prison. But to get into RDAP, there's several ways to qualify. And I'm gonna pull up on the screen here what you have to have: a verifiable substance use disorder. And then I'm going to let James talk after we read this. But it's not just occasional use. A drink here and there, a glass of wine with dinner is not going to get you into RDAP. So I'm going to have my little helper here read the verifiable substance use disorder. Here she goes.
What is a verifiable substance use disorder? A. The RDAP is limited to those who have real, verifiable substance abuse problems and desire treatment. Verifiable means that the problem is documented, preferably in the pre-sentence report, PSR. Letters from a medical doctor or mental health professional, a drug abuse treatment provider, a parole or probation officer, a social worker, or a judge's recommendation are helpful in showing that the prisoner has a verifiable substance use disorder. 2 or more convictions for DUI or DWI in the 5-year period before the prisoner's most recent arrest may also verify that the prisoner has a substance use disorder. Any written documentation of an inmate's substance abuse problems should be sent to the BOP and put in the prisoner's central file. If there is no verifying documentation of a substance use disorder in the prisoner's central file, the prisoner must be given the opportunity to have documentation sent directly to the drug abuse treatment staff at his prison. The prisoner can also have a physical examination at health services to document physical proof of a substance use disorder, such as track marks. Or, if a prisoner received substance detoxification when he was first admitted to the BOP, he can get the drug treatment staff permission to contact health services and verify that fact. Q12. What is a substance use disorder? A. It is more than merely recreational, social, or occasional use of alcohol or drugs. A substance use disorder means that a prisoner's drug or alcohol abuse meets the definition of substance abuse or dependence in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of the Mental Disorders, 4th edition. DSM-4. Dependence includes having a history of substance use, which includes the following. 1. Substance abuse, see below. 2. Continuation of use despite related problems. 3. Increase in tolerance, more of the drug is needed to achieve the same effect. And 4. Withdrawal symptoms. Abuse is a pattern of substance use leading to significant impairment in functioning. One of the following must be present within a 12-month period. 1. Recurrent use resulting in a failure to fulfill major obligations at work, school, or home. 2. Recurrent use in situations which are physically hazardous, example, driving while intoxicated. 3. Legal problems resulting from recurrent use. Or 4. Continued use despite significant social or interpersonal problems caused by the substance use. The symptoms do not meet the criteria for substance dependence, as abuse is a part of this disorder. This diagnostic impression must be reviewed and signed by a drug abuse treatment program coordinator. Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of the Mental Disorders, DSM-4, American Psychiatric Publishing Incorporated /JP.
So that's basically a lot to swallow, guys. I know. Basically, you've had to have been in trouble, and it's got to be documented. 2 DUIs in 5 years will get you into RDAP. Being in a drug abuse treatment program while you're on pretrial will get you into RDAP. Getting violated while on pretrial, showing a dirty UA test, that could get you into RDAP. But you don't want to do all that because that can affect your sentencing and violate you and get you thrown in jail while you're awaiting sentence. And no more pretrial, no more living at home while you're awaiting sentence. And if you violate your pretrial and get thrown in jail, guess what? You don't get credit time served. It was 4 years for me on pretrial. Had I violated and got thrown in jail, I'd have done 4 years in jail with no credit. Wouldn't have counted for anything. So that's where me and James come in. James runs a substance abuse treatment program / sober living house, and he has all the credentials to evaluate you and do an intake. And with his professional opinion, he can write you a letter that the RDAP coordinator can accept and let you into RDAP. No guarantees. But James, I'm going to give you the floor. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how you can help them.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Sean. Thanks, everybody. My name is James Sabiri, and I guess I'm the founder of Action Housing, LLC, which is an offshoot of the Hillsdale House, which is our flagship sober living home. We maintain a 70-bed facility spread out amongst 4 different properties for people not necessarily on court probation or parole, but for people who want to stay sober. And I've got over 20 years in the field. That's how Sean and I met, frankly.
20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago. And, long story short, I went through a drug court here in Redwood City, and I developed a great relationship with the criminal justice system here. We've got regular police contact with people who come to the house, judges, probation officers, and I've got a great deal of experience working with the addicted, alcoholic and addicted, drug addicted portion of the population, which means all of that put together means that I understand the languaging required and basically the buzzwords and what people want to know about your particular case to determine whether or not you're eligible for RDAP. And the one thing that The thing that can be tricky is most people who have alcoholism or addiction are in some form of denial. And so while some people may just want to sign up for RDAP to get the reduced time, out of integrity, I must provide an accurate assessment of whether or not the subject has alcoholic or drug addicted an issue or tendencies. So,
Yeah, we're not here to accept your lies and just sign a paper and get your year off sentence. Like he says, he has ethics, he has morals, and if you're just lying to get time off, I don't really want to help you.
yeah, and that's really, and I don't know if anybody shows up like that. And then here's the other thing is sometimes people show up to just try and get reduced time. And the courts know this, and the judges know this. And then they end up going through the program, and then they realize, hey, this is not a bad way to live. And so there are some people who, while they may not believe they have symptoms of alcoholism or addiction, they may still qualify. So
I hear you.
And sometimes people say, I did not get in trouble every time I drank or did drugs. But every time I got in trouble, I had been drinking or doing drugs. So while your mind may tell you you don't have a problem, if you talk to Sean or me or one of the other techs, we may think you have a problem even when you don't. So
Yeah, that's true.
And that
That's
was
true.
my story. I did not want to stop. I didn't have a problem. I was grateful that you guys had the help you needed. People like Sean and these other people, but I didn't really want any part of it. But I chose 12-step recovery and meetings and programs as an alternative to a 3-year prison sentence. And from doing that, I learned more about myself, and I went all in. And my life, I've never looked back, so my life is great. But the long story short, we deal with the courts, we deal with the probation officers, parole agents. We know what they're looking for, and we err on the side of helping people. And if I think there's a chance that someone may get helped, you may be looking at it as a reduction in sentence, but really what we want is we want you to change your life. We want you to improve your life. And if there's just an inkling of a sign that you may have a problem, I'm going to water that. I'm going to nurture that. I'm going to eloquently illustrate that. Even if you don't believe you have, if I hear something or see something that reminds me of me when I was in denial, then you may be a great candidate. So anyway,
I do. Yeah, and I got some more. Material from the BOP website to show these guys. But I do want to point out now, a lot of white collar guys, even drug dealers, never got caught. They have nothing on paper to prove that they have an alcohol problem or a drug problem. So how are you going to get into RDAP? Now, I'm going to show you something. It can be on your pre-sentence report here. Let me just pull this up here real quick. So the RDAP is limited to those who have a real verifiable substance abuse problems and desire treatment. It says verifiable means the problem is documented preferably in the pre-sentence report. That's your PSR. But now that pre-sentence report is 20 pages long. It's your life history. And if you just write down that you have a drug or alcohol problem in the pre-sentence report, that's really not verifiable documentation. That's just your word on paper that you have a problem. That's where letters from let me pull this up here. Letters from a medical or mental health professional, a drug abuse treatment provider, which is James, a parole probation officer, good luck getting one of those to write you a letter, a social worker. I also have a social worker just joined the staff too. He's a licensed drug counselor and social worker. And we have one more person out of San Mateo County that wants to come on board. that would be a total of 3 letters that you guys could get, which still is never going to guarantee you an RDAP. But you get these 3 letters, whatever you have in your pre-sentence report, or 1 or 2 letters. The chances are, really, really, really good you're going to get an RDAP. The RDAP coordinator is the one who makes the final decision. The judge can recommend that, but a judge's recommendation really is meaningless once you get into prison, because that was Department of Justice that the judge works for, and when you become an inmate, you're custody of the Bureau of Prisons, and these are 2 different entities, and they really don't like to talk to each other much. The judge recommends a lot of things when you get to prison, and they get laughed at by a lot of the staff when they read your file. So you really need some documentation if you want to get that year off and the extra 6 months halfway house or home confinement. So all the letters you can get are really going to help you. And I'm going to show you here in a minute all the qualifications for RDAP besides this. But I do want to point out, if you go on the internet, don't take my word for it. Go Google prison consultants RDAP verification letters. They're going to charge you $7,500, $10,000, even $20,000. Okay?
Jeez.
Our fee's $1,000, guys. I'm going to tell you, that's $1,000. You won't find that anywhere. And we're professionals, licenses, credentials, all that stuff. We have that. The letter will be, you'll get a copy of the letter. You'll be evaluated by James or Leroy Lucero or one other man we have just coming on board. And you'll have to go on Zoom with these guys. It'll be recorded. It'll be saved. They will write you a professional certified letter stating their evaluation and your intake, whether they believe or don't believe that you do qualify for RDAP program. And then my office will actually send a legal mail to the prison. I will call up whichever prison you are going to be designated to, and we will send legal mail there so that into the RDAP coordinator's office, or you will pick it up at the mailroom. It'll be legal mail. They can't open it. And you also get a copy of the letter to bring with you before you go to prison, just in case some reason they don't give you your mail in prison, because that can happen, right? And I'll also have another copy at the office. And if you ever lost that, we can always send you another one. But all these documentations are your best bet to get that year off. Jake, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just want to say that, where Sean's coming from a place of help. Sean has, Sean's gone through a lot of this. He's been through the trials and tribulations of navigating the system. And, I don't know what's better, having clinicians like us draft up and write your letters, or having Sean's relationships, getting them through as a success story. So
here's my certificate, my graduation of RDAP. I want you all to have one of these. Great program. Go on.
Sean has put together a great team of people, and like he said, people charge, I don't want to sound like a salesman, people charge $5,000, $7,500 for a letter for 15 or 20 minutes of their time. And 3 professionals, they provide you letters for less than half the cost. You don't even have to use them all, because honestly, if I don't deem you as alcoholic or addicted, I'm just not going to say it, because we have a level of integrity to stand behind. And that's why people listen to Sean. And that's why people take what I say seriously, because we don't send people who are not the real deal. So
I just want you guys know I'm with you. Once you get to prison, I'm constantly in contact with guys. They're emailing me. They're writing me letters. They're calling me. They get out of prison, and check out, I've done 47 interviews. There's maybe 10 people who got out of prison, and they've done a follow-up show with me. I'm there with you the whole way through, man. You got a friend for life with me. I don't want to bash the other guys, but they're just about getting your $7,500, getting you a letter, and that's it. Goodbye.
God.
And you watch. I got 300 videos to prove that I'm with you guys the whole way, and I got a good reputation. I'm proud to say that I've built that up. So and if you don't believe me, just go onto my channel, scroll down all the videos. The proof's in the pudding, guys. I'm real. I care, and my heart's in it, guys. My heart's in this. I want to see you guys get a better outcome at your sentence. I also have other services, but I'm not going to talk about today. But we do character reference letters and personal allocutions and stuff like that. Coaching for sentencing day, talking to the judge. It's all underneath the videos. James, I don't think you've actually seen this either, James. About the RDAP program, it tells you like it's a 500-hour program. I'll show you the short version here. I don't want to bore these guys too much, but it is a behavior modification program, if you know what that means. They don't actually have AA meetings or 12 steps in the program, but they do recommend that you join AA. And let's see here. All about RDAP. Is that the one I want? Or is that the quick one? Yeah, let's see here. Let me pull this up here. All about RDAP. All right, I won't read. It's long, so I'm not going to read the whole thing for you, but I will do some of it. I'll have my helper read this for me, because I have technology. We don't have to read anymore. We just have this person do it. Here we go.
Residential Drug Abuse Treatment Program, RDAP. RDAP is a 500-hour drug treatment program offered by the Federal Bureau of Prisons. FMC Carswell has 2 residential drug treatment programs. Dual Diagnosis RDAP. The Dual Diagnosis RDAP provides comprehensive treatment for inmates who have both a substance abuse diagnosis and either a major mental illness or a serious medical condition. Spanish RDAP. The Spanish RDAP is offered to inmates who do not speak English and therefore would not be able to participate in the traditional RDAP program. In order to participate in RDAP, you must have at least 24 months remaining on your sentence, be qualified to participate in aftercare in the community, and have a verifiable substance abuse problem in the year prior to your arrest for the instant offense. Nonviolent offenders may be eligible for a sentence reduction of up to 12 months for successful completion of the program. Participation in the RDAP program is voluntary. FMC Carswell also provides aftercare services for 12 months following the successful completion of RDAP.
Okay, so that's for FMC Carswell, but that's basically what RDAP entitles. They do have a Spanish program. I think there's maybe 3 prisons that offer it. And then there was a mental health part of it. That's usually only available for the women in the women's prisons. And I believe you get an extra 6 months off of that, the dual diagnosis one. So that's where you got some mental problems and a drug problem, and you're in prison. That's just for the women, guys. I don't believe the men have that available. But if you're a woman, you can, I think, so that you can get 6 months, halfway house, the year off, and 6 months for the dual diagnosis. That's 2 years. You can go home 2 years early, besides your good time. So, James, I don't know if you knew that. It was a 500-hour program. It takes about 9 months, guys. And it takes
What's
about...
the difference?
What's that?
I said, what's the difference? It's nothing but positivity. It's something good to do with your time.
Yeah.
And, I think if they let you in, it's not a mistake.
No. And you live in a special building. You're not with the rest of the regular general population. So RDAP has its own community. It has its own kind of ways of life. It has its own atmosphere, rules and stuff. Like, you can't sleep in the daytime. You can't sleep till 4 o'clock at night. There's no napping during the day. Certain things like that, like a lot of programs have. But they have their own kind of community, their own rules. But you make some good friends there, and you build your body, your mind, and your spirit, and your soul will grow while you're in RDAP if you give it half the chance. And a lot of people don't finish RDAP. They get kicked out. If you're not willing to participate, you have to get in front of there's usually 100 inmates in each RDAP class. You have to get in front of 100 inmates. You got to read your homework assignments. You got to tell them what's going on with you this week. Yes, they're going to want you to talk about your case and why you got thrown in prison and take accountability for the crimes that you did. Yes, you're going to have to talk about your crime, not just your drug or your alcohol problem. They do a lot more internal accountability than you could imagine, and a lot of guys are not willing to do that. They just want to sit in a chair and listen and wait for the 9 months to roll by. It doesn't work that way, does it, James? You got to put in the work.
No, there's
right?
participation, but the benefits are way better than you can even imagine. It's the last thing, it's the last thing I tried. It's the first thing that worked. I loved.
The last thing you tried, the first thing that worked.
Yeah, that's just,
Yeah.
what you're doing is you're taking a bad situation, the lemon's life handed you, and you're making lemonade. You could come out better than you were. You had no idea you wanted to change this part of your life. I mean, you're going anyway, so why not try something new?
I got so much out of RDAP. There's a thing called RSA's, Rational Self-Analysis, and you have to do probably 200 of these to graduate, and it's a homework assignment, but I call it playing out the tape. Remember, James, in AA, we say play the tape forward? Like, you're walking by a bar, there's a girl in there sitting on the bar stool. Hey, James, how you doing? It's me, Veronica. Come on in, I'll buy you a drink. Oh, and I broke up with my boyfriend. I have my own place. I got a car. I just got paid. Come on in, I'll buy you a drink. Play the tape, right, James?
Yeah.
What would happen next, James, if you went in the bar? Play the tape for us.
What would happen next? Well, my parole officer would be in the same bar. He would observe me drinking, because that's the kind of luck you have when you mess up. You don't get away with it. But it usually doesn't end well, even though our minds tell us.
Yeah, so you do hundreds of these while you're in RDAP, and they're written down homework assignments, and they're rational self-analysis, RSAs. You're going to get sick of the letters RSA, but it does you so much good for when you get out of prison. Like, I had a guy, I'm sitting in my car, he's a neighbor, he comes in, he says, hey man, can you give me a ride? I don't even know the guy. And I said, where do you got to go? And he goes, well, I got to go dose. And I said, you got to go dose? You know what that means? The methanol, what's it called for the heroin? And I'm thinking, well, okay, I'll give the guy a ride. Then I'm thinking, well, how do I know he doesn't have anything on him? How I don't know if he's on parole? I don't know this guy from Adam.
Be a big risk.
So I didn't let him in the car. I told him, hey man, I'm late for work. I'm 5 minutes down the road. I'm sorry. Catch me another time. Whatever you got to tell him. I didn't want to let him in the car because, let's say I take him to go dose, where all these druggies are hanging out in front of a place, and he's in my car, and maybe he's on parole, and I get pulled over, or a cop pulls in, and I'm on federal probation. I got some explaining to do, And then I got even if there's nothing on me, there might be something on him. I don't know I don't know anything about this guy. So you got to do a rational self-analysis, and you do this in life. And these are the decisions that get you thrown in jail and prison. RDAP taught me to look for these decisions, make these choices and decisions now in my life. So not just I don't go to jail, but I want to live free. I want to live productive. I want to be, I want the freedom, the liberty that I get. It's not just getting off the drugs and alcohol, guys. It's making those decisions in life going forward, You know what I mean, James?
Believe me, I do. I do. I get the best life. I got a life better than I could have ever imagined. It's from these crazy programs.
And you guys can have that life too, man. I know you're going to prison, but I know you guys watching this channel, you're probably getting somewhere between 1 and 5 year sentences. Most of the guys I talk to, maybe you get 8 years. You're the non-violent people that are out on pretrial. All the bank robbers, the serial killers, the child molesters, they're locked up. They don't get to be out on pretrial and watch YouTube like you do. You got a chance to turn it all around before you go to prison. And if you can impress the judge and show the judge that you've turned your life around while you're on pretrial, most of the time he sees that and he gives you a downward departure, and you get a lesser sentence.
I was just at the National Sober Living Association annual convention, and we had a federal judge from the Bismarck, North Dakota, and he'd been on for 2 years. But he was, and he deals with Indian lands. Let's see,
Tribal.
tribal stuff, drug conspiracies, and child porn too. But a lot of Indian land stuff and a lot of drug stuff. And he says there are a lot of people at the top of the chain who, they're just selling. They don't do drugs themselves. They caught them with a lot of money. And he doesn't look at those people as the same as some people maybe at the bottom or midway up the rung who, caught a habit or got involved, did a crime, and just got caught up. And he said he loves seeing those people. He gets a picture of when they were arrested. Then he has a picture of them when they show up in his courtroom. He can't even recognize them.
There you go.
So, and that's a good judge. He's a newer judge, and he loves it. So there are judges who really want to help get people, into treatment, and a reduction in sentence is kind of a reward for trying to do something to change you. In a lot of those federal cases, he said they get 10, 20 years. One guy went and ripped somebody else up, and the max was 20, but he enhanced it or something. He gave the guy 30 years.
They can go up. Yeah, they can go above the guidelines too.
He said you'll think twice about trying to get somebody to not do something, in my state. But he's also bought people time, so they don't have to turn themselves in right away. And somehow, through a turn of events, credit for time served, they don't even do any prison time.
Well, that's rare in the Fed. They usually want to punish you at least a little bit, but
yeah,
if you put in the work.
This was a pregnant lady.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But anyway, anything's possible if you're open-minded and you, this is, I think even if it's just a loophole, but you have a little bit of drug and alcohol in your life, I would try to do RDAP. If I thought I didn't have a problem, I'd still try to get in and see what's happening, because I might discover something.
Right. So anyways, we
cents.
are here to get you into RDAP if you have a problem with alcohol and drugs, and you want to do something about it. Because RDAP's not going to be easy. You got to do the work there. So if you're willing to do the work, but you don't know how to get in, you give us a call. We can help you out. Or call the other guys and go spend 10 grand. Hey, check them out first. Don't believe me. Call them up.
Don't do it. Call Sean. Sean, no.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you any names tonight, but if you've watched my videos, you know some of the guys I talk about that will charge you 10 and 20 grand. But that's not what I'm here to talk about tonight.
I've seen Sean today at his best, and I've seen Sean at his not so greatest before he did his time. And I can tell you today, heads and shoulders, he's on the right track. He's here helping guys, and that's why he's smiling. That's why you see him smiling.
I did the work, guys, and guess what? It paid off.
Yeah, it did pay off.
It paid off, man.
I don't know what else I can do. I want to encourage people, if you think you may have a problem, connect with Sean, and we may be able to help you.
Yeah, give us a call, and we'll get you started right away. The number's on the screen. It's scrolling across. So give us a call, 505-226-2117.
Just call me if you have any questions.
Call for questions too, man. I'm always here to help. You guys know that.
Yeah, that's it.
And I guess that's about it, James. I want to thank you very much for coming on. We'll keep this quick and short. I messed up in the beginning of this, so maybe we could do another one later this week, and we'll be perfect. But
yeah, we could. I'd be happy to do it, because for me, it's an opportunity to get you in front of more people, and it's an opportunity for me to explain, to to wave a carrot in front of them, reduce time, if they're willing to place themselves and open-minded enough to place themselves into a rigorous, 9-month program. It could yield, at minimum, it could yield a year off or 18 months with the halfway house, or at maximum, they could have a new life like you. And that's really, time comes and goes. It's easy for me to say because I don't have a surrender date. But that surrender dates come and go, and people get released, and then what do you do? Another thing we were talking about that summit. Then what do you do? So I've got contacts all over the United States for what you can do. But one of the best things you do while you're in there is RDAP program. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much, James. I'll call you tomorrow. And the rest of you guys, I'll be doing videos all weekend long again, live, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks again, James.
Thanks, Sean.
All right.
Good work.
End this broadcast.
Good work.